Hey, it's Carrie from Total, and we have got Rob Muldoon in today, who is normally on this side of the interview, but today is over there on the other side. So let's see how he handles the pressure. How are you getting on, Rob?
I'm all right, how are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. What's it like being on that side?
A lot more relaxing rather than...
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because I'm usually sat there thinking, right, I need to listen to what they're saying, I need to come up with a question, I need to make everything flow, and is that camera working, is that microphone working? At least I can just sit here and...
Just relax.
Relax and then answer as many questions as you throw at me.
So let's tell all the audience what it is you do when you're on this side of the interview. So you have a podcast, don't you?
Yeah, so I've got a podcast called the NYH Podcast. It's been around now for 2 years. It came through an idea that I just had of I needed to get the message out to people within the construction industry, because the whole point of the podcast is to raise awareness about mental health within the construction industry. And off the back of that, it's just sort of grown and grown and grown. And as we've just been talking about then, that I'm trying to teach myself how to edit stuff, how to produce stuff, how to film stuff, how to colour grade stuff, and it's hard work, but you know what, I am really enjoying it. It's a new learning experience. I lose hours and hours and hours sat in front of a computer. And I've got two screens on, and one screen will have YouTube on, usually saying, how do I do whatever?
Yeah.
And then the other one is actually trying to do it, but I absolutely love doing it, and it's taken me to some amazing places and meeting some amazing people like yourselves, because this is not the first time we've met up, is it?
It isn't, so shall we talk about that, how we met?
Yeah, you can do, yeah.
So you was touring the UK, and still are touring the UK for the Lighthouse Club, and they're called Toolbox Talks, aren't they?
Yeah, so it's yeah, I guess it is like a toolbox talk. It's just a bit of an insight for people that are working within the trades, both on site and at the management level, to understand about the services, one, that the Lighthouse provide, and two, that are out there for them, and that it is okay to ask for this help and support if they ever need it. And the good thing with the Lighthouse as well, it's not only the individuals that get the support, but it's their family as well, the immediate family. So the kids could be going through something, the partner could be going through something, and the Lighthouse can be there to help them and facilitate whatever those problems is. A lot of people think it is just mental health, but it's far more than mental health. They offer physical and financial aid as well. So you could be struggling with your electricity bill at the moment, or you could be struggling with chronic pain. They can help you with all those scenarios. They are pretty much a one-stop shop for people within the industry to get the help and support that they need. And they don't even have to be in crisis. It's better to speak to them before you get to that point. And this reels us back to the talks that we do, is raising that awareness for people to reach out before it gets to a crisis point, because prevention is always better than the cure.
And the main kind of problem that we've got in this industry of construction is people don't like to come forward and speak, especially because it's very male orientated. Yeah. So being a male yourself, when you go around and go onto sites and see these companies, you've got a personal story that you do share with these people, that I've witnessed you sharing this story and watch the audience watching you delivering it, and it's really inspiring. I'm wondering if you might be able to tell me the story again, just so our audience know exactly what your story is.
Yeah, so for me, I started in the industry back in the year 2000 as an apprentice bricklayer for a big brickwork contractor in Manchester. I worked for them for, well, nearly 20 years, really. I left for a little bit, but I always came back. And even though I've left now, I was in their offices last week. So I never really leave that place. But I managed to work my way up to be a project manager. For them, working on some really, really good jobs, some high-profile Man City's training ground, Coronation Street, multi-storey stuff, loads and loads of stuff like that. And for a long time, I let life get on top of me, and I didn't know how to handle things. The simplest of things, of getting a promotion, getting married, buying a house, having kids, and all the new responsibilities that go along with that. And I struggled with it, and I did absolutely nothing about it, Carrie. And I also struggle with a thing called imposter syndrome. Even this week, it's eating away at me, because I always think that I'm never good enough to do a job, whether it's the bricklaying side of it, or whether it's the podcast side of it, or the other work that I get up to now. I always have that inner saboteur sat inside me saying, you're not good enough for this, you can't do this. And it's them daily battles that I go through. And for a long time, I let that inner saboteur beat me all the time, and that voice beat me. And it pushed me to an extreme. No, I never went down a drug and alcohol route. What I did was I buried myself into work, because I always wanted to make sure I had an answer if anybody ever asked me about anything, because I never wanted them to think that I couldn't do my job. And then I always worked ridiculous hours because I wanted to be seen that I'm there, I'm a team player, I'm putting this effort in. When in reality, all I was doing was destroying myself for work. It was not for working for a bad company, because when I did finally open my mouth and start talking about it, they helped me and gave me the support and understood and gave me the time off. And it all sort of came to a head for me in 2017. I was going away for the weekend, a long weekend, Friday to the Monday. I could have booked the time off. I could have booked the Friday and the Monday off. I had tons of holiday because I never took it, but I chose not to. And I then came to, well, site shut at 3 o'clock on the Friday. I was still sat at my desk at 5 o'clock on the Friday because, one, I was exhausted from putting this fake persona on of being everything's a-okay in my life and work's going great and there's not a problem in Rob's world. And two, I used to see my home life as my second job, because when kids came on carry, I struggled with it, and I still struggle with it. Now it is still a daily thing because it is a big upheaval. And for the first sort of 3 years, I had no relationship with my kids. Not for the want of trying. I just didn't understand how to be a dad. A lot of it, and like the babies would fall over or they'd be crying in the bed, or Lou would say to me, "Feed them." I'm like, "Nah, I don't want anything to do with them." And again, for a long time, I did nothing about it. I never spoke to anybody about it. I never tried to understand why I felt like I just kept pushing it down and pushing it down. And all these problems, although they're only little problems, there's lots of them, and I just kept pushing all these little problems down. So come 5 o'clock on that Friday, I eventually got the motivation to get up and get the motivation to head up and go. And I drove from Liverpool to North Wales, which is about an hour and a half. And all that journey over there, all I could think about is, I've got this to do, I've got that to do, I don't need to be here, I don't want to be here, this is not what I want to be doing this weekend, I've got other things to do. But in reality, I should have been thinking about all the great memories I'm going to make with my family and having this time off. But when I got there, I was in a foul mood. Come the Saturday, we went out for something to eat. And as we went out for something to eat, I was feeding Seb. He was 2 at the time, and he just wouldn't eat a piece of pizza. Simply a 2-year-old not eating his lunch. And I couldn't handle it. I could not handle it. For me, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I just flipped, screaming, shouting at him, screaming, shouting at Louise and my brother-in-law and his partner Emma, threw the pizza everywhere, and I just raged for about 20 minutes. And then after I finished and sort of calmed myself down, I went and hid in a bedroom then for the rest of the weekend. I was like a scared dog in the corner. I couldn't talk to anybody, I couldn't handle anything. My mind had broken at that point, because your mind is a muscle at the end of the day. It's the most complex muscle you have. But you imagine going to the gym every day and doing bicep curls for 7 years solid and never giving them a break, never giving them time off. They're going to break at some point. And for me, that incident was what broke me. And again, it was just a small incident, but it was one of many, many, many small incidents that I let get on top of me. But come the Monday morning, I still got myself up. I still dragged myself out of bed, and I still went to work, because I thought, if I don't turn up, there's bricklayers that ain't going to get paid, machine drivers, mastic men, scaffolders, and all the other subcontractors that were working with us on that job. If their manager's not in, they can't go on site. If they can't go on site, they can't earn the money. If they can't earn the money, they can't provide for the family. And again, these were all the pressures I was putting on myself. And as I was driving to work, Louise rang me and said, "I'm leaving you. I cannot be with you anymore. Until you let somebody in and deal with whatever's going on in your head, me and the boys are going." And she did. She left for 3 months. But most people would think, right, I've just had a massive breakdown. I can't handle what's going on in my life. A 17-year relationship, a marriage is breaking down. I best turn around and go and sort this out. I didn't, because I didn't want to handle it. I didn't want to know, or I didn't know how to handle it. And I just carried on driving to work. I just said, "See you later." Got to work, got everybody sorted, got everybody started. And then at the end of all that, I went and hid and I rang my boss and I said, you need to come and see me. So he did, he came over and we spoke and I just told him everything. And he's like, forget work, don't worry about it. We can sort that out, just get yourself better. And I did. I started talking about stuff, I had a bit of time off. Started opening up and talking and getting it off my chest. And it wasn't easy because talking about this stuff, because you pushed it down for so long and you've suppressed it for so long, it's hard work getting it up and out. And once I did, I did start to notice a difference. It did start to make me realise that things do get better and you can handle these. And I'm not the only one that's been through this. So when I came back to work, I got the lads together and I said, look, this is what's happened. I've let my head fall off and I've done nothing about it. But now I'm starting to do something about it and I'm making these changes. And over the coming days, a lot of them started coming up to me and saying, you know what, Rob, I know exactly what you mean. I've had this go on, I've had that go on, I've don't speak to my parents anymore, I don't see partners anymore, I don't see kids anymore because of what they've gone through in their life. And it made me realise that although their story was different to mine, ultimately it made me realise that we all have a lot of stuff going on in our lives. It's how we choose to deal with that stuff. And for me, at that time, I was choosing not to deal with it. So this is what sort of where the idea of the podcast started coming in. I went back to work, carried on with my job. Again, on the money side of things, I couldn't walk away from the job. As much as it was destroying me, I knew I had to do it in a different way that worked for me. And I was actually on another job in Liverpool, and I was sat there thinking, how can I get this message out to people within the industry that there is help out there, it's okay to ask for the help, and where to get that help. And they're not the only ones that's been through a journey with mental health. And the posters that you see around site that show you where to get that help and support absolutely need to be there. They really, really do. But some of the sites I used to work on, there could have been 1,350 people working on that site. And before COVID, there could have been 600 people in a canteen at any one point. And I used to think that if I'm stood looking at this poster to do with mental health, there's 600 pairs of eyes burning in the back of me. Why is Rob looking at that poster about mental health? Why is he doing that? He's meant to be looking after me. He's meant to be making sure I'm safe and I've got plenty of work in front of me and I can provide for my family. And he can't even handle his own emotions. What's that all about? In reality, nobody did. But again, these were all the pressures I was putting on myself, and it started to weigh down on me. So I thought, I need to change this. And like I said before, a lot of my problem was I wasn't talking. And once I started to talk, it made a massive difference in my life. So I thought I need to teach people to talk, or realise they don't need permission to talk. And that's where the podcast was born. I started it over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now. My mate Tom, he helped me with it. He got me going. He did a few episodes with us. I think he did about 12 episodes. And then I've sort of been doing it on my own ever since then. I'm going to try and get Tom to come back and do a bit more with me because he's very good at what he does. And it's just been a whirlwind. I never thought it'd go to places the way that, or it's taken me to places that I never thought I had. That van I'm sat in outside that I've brought in that used to be seen on the tour, doing stuff for Ford and doing stuff for the Lighthouse and all these companies now that get involved with what we're doing and spread the word about mental health, because it doesn't matter what job you do, what position you are, what trade you are within the industry, mental health will have an effect on your life, and it's just as important as physical health. And physical well-being is smashed all over us on site. All these hard hats that you've got knocking about here, everybody has to have a hard hat, everybody has to have boots on, high vis and everything like that, 5-point PPE to look after them and keep them safe. I mean, your mental health's just as important, because if you're in charge of a piece of heavy equipment and you're not in the right mind to doing the job that you're meant to be doing within that piece of equipment, and you turn around, you could take out 15 members of your team because you're not with it, so to speak. That's why it's important to look after it, because all the people that operate these bits of equipment and work on the big sites and everything like that, we're all one big team on site, and we all need each other, because it is dangerous. Even with all the safety precautions, it is dangerous still working on these jobs. The buildings industry is a dangerous environment to work in, and you need to be on the top of your game all the time. And if you're not looking after yourself on a physical side and you're not looking after yourself on a mental side, something's got to give somewhere, and hopefully it's not either your own safety or somebody else's safety that you work with. And this is why it's important to start to look after your mental health just as much as your physical health. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I mean, I compressed 7 or 8 years to get to that point, but that's pretty much where we are today with it all.
So you speak to a lot of people when you go out on site delivering your tours.
Yeah.
Is there a common kind of problem that people come and speak to you about personally in regards to mental health that we can maybe talk about, just in case anybody's watching and they think, oh, well, I'm in that category as well? Is there anything that you repeatedly hear?
A lot of the time there's a lot of money problems. The past 12 months, it's been a lot of money problems. People are saying that the wages just aren't going far enough. Overworking. We're an industry full of people. I'm still guilty of it now. I'll squeeze that job in because we have to make hay while the sun shines, so to speak. People think, well, I might not have any work in a couple of weeks, and you're cramming all this work in and just burning yourself out. I think the big problem is burnout and financial burden, especially this time of year, because last week nobody could lay any bricks last week. A lot of sites were shut because of the temperatures and it's freezing, so no money's been made last week. And we've got the 2-week shutdown for Christmas. One of the sites we were on, when you came out, was a couple of guys came up and spoke to us that they get laid off over Christmas and then took back on after Christmas. So that's a worry to them. It's definitely finance, I think, and burnout is a big problem at the moment.
So what support is in place for anyone going through that kind of crisis?
So you can give the Lighthouse a call, go on their website, and you can see what facilities they have. They can help you with both sides of that. So if you are starting to burn out, they can help you with the support on that side of it. And if you are struggling financially, again, they can help you with that. If you give them a call or give them a text on the numbers, they can put you through to the right people that can help you with that. You'll speak to a caseworker, tell the caseworker everything that's going on in your life, and they can say, right, this is how we can best support you with that, and they will put you through to the right people that will give you that help and support that you need and what you're looking for.
What are sleep coaches? I've heard you tell me about this before.
Sorry, my nose is really itchy. Sleep coaches, so that a lot of people struggle with sleeping. You can be laid in bed and thinking, my alarm's going off at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's going off at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's 3 o'clock in the morning now, I need to sleep. They can help you calm your mind and understand why you're feeling anxious and what measures to put in. Help you build a good routine before you go to bed. No screen time and cut caffeine out after 2 o'clock and all this sort of stuff. And they can also just be a person that you can offload a little problem to, and they can help you understand that, why you're feeling like that and what makes you feel like that, and what you can do to relieve that feeling and help you understand what you can control and what you can't control. And it's just all about putting your mind at rest, because if your mind's not racing at 10,000 miles an hour, it usually means you can drop off into a decent sleep as well. Because I think sleep, people don't realise how important sleep is. I can survive on 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, maybe when you're 18 years old, but not. I mean, I'm 38 now and I struggle. If I don't have enough sleep, I wake up in the morning and I'm tired. I'm already in a bad mood. And then you've got to go to work and deal with other people that are in that, and it can be a vicious circle. And that's why it is so important to get that downtime and get the sleep in.
So how do people go about getting in touch with one of these sleep coaches? It's a free service, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's a free service. So if you give the Lighthouse a call on, got to try and remember the number now.
The camera's on.
0345 605 1956, or text hard hat to 85258. There you go. I have to double check that one, Ali. But I'm pretty sure
the
that's
number
right.
will be rolling across the bottom of the screen just in case.
Give them contact. Say you're struggling with sleep. Can they help you with that? And again, the caseworker will say, yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look at this and take it down that route. And you can also go on the website, and there's like tips and tricks. You can sign up to the masterclasses that they do. So they have mindful masterclasses, which can help you calm your mind and get your mind and body into a place of relaxation before you go to bed. It's routines as well. You need to build good routines for yourself. And also, if you let them routines slip, don't worry about it. Line in the sand, start again, because nobody's perfect. routines slip. You know, with your training that you do for the fighting side of things, sometimes you have an off day, and that's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it and go again. But I think the masterclasses would be a good one for people to sign up to. Again, it's all on the website. Again, it's like another toolbox talk. It's sort of an hour's training. I think they do one a week. I think they do, all on different subjects, and people can just get a small insight into a bit of mindfulness, a bit of financial support, a bit of to do with sleeping, to do with tax returns, to do with legal advice, all the stuff that they cover. And again, it's totally and utterly free. Like 99% of the stuff that the Lighthouse do is completely and utterly free, and it's a good way, or it's a good insight of what they can do to look after themselves.
Can we touch on drug and alcohol abuse?
Yep.
Because it is quite a big topic,
Massive.
especially at this time of year. So what do you know about that side?
I think drug, alcohol and gambling are the biggest problems within our industry. There's people that I speak to that they have to cut alcohol out of their life and drug out of their life completely now, because they've come to the realisation that they were using it as a bit of a crutch. A lot of people use it as that comfort blanket to help them forget about what they're going through, and they can struggle thinking that I'm going to get tested for drugs and alcohol, and how can I get that support? And again, I know I keep repeating it, but I always refer people back to the Lighthouse, because they do have people that work for them that can help you understand what you're going through with the drug and alcohol, and why you're using the drug and alcohol to excess. And Lee, who came on the tour with us, he had a big problem with drug and alcohol. He openly admits that. He said that it started off with a Friday and Saturday night, and then it went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday it dipped down, and then he was coming back up to it. And especially on the bigger sites that I used to work on now, you're getting tested constantly all the time, and it's getting to the point where people are saying to me, it's a Tuesday night and all I'm thinking about is going ringing up whoever and getting something when I'm sat watching Coronation Street, and it's getting out of hand this now, and I need a bit of help and support. Absolutely, the Lighthouse can do that for them. They can give them that help and support. Also, again, on the website, there's a thing called beacons as well. So they can go on the website and type in their address, type in drug and alcohol support, and it'll bring up all the local people that are near them, that they can go and get a bit of face-to-face, go to a bit of group meeting stuff, a bit of therapy on that side, because not everybody wants to talk to a complete stranger down the end of a phone. Sometimes a lot of people want to do it face-to-face, and these beacons can help with that. They are people that work with the Lighthouse to do deliver services for people within the industry, but it is a big problem. It is getting worse, and I think it does need addressing massively. How we help people with that is just talk about it. I guess for me, it's just all about talking and having honest conversations with people and saying to them, are you using it to excess? Are you using it to hide a problem? Let's have a look at why you're using it, rather than just, right, you're using drug and alcohol, let's get rid of them. I'd rather turn around to them and say, look, you're good at what you do. Something's obviously troubling you at the minute, and you're leaning a bit towards that side of things. Should we have a conversation of why you feel that you need to use that? And then if they want a bit of further support, again, this is where the Lighthouse can come in.
So I had a question that I really wanted to ask you then, and let me just get it back on the tip of my tongue. I forgot what it is.
All right, I'll grab a drink.
A
It's not as good as Kenko, this.
We need some Kenko. Oh, I just want to ask you about the suicide rates at the moment. Do you know the suicide rates in general, and then the statistics for the construction industry?
I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know the rates for outside of construction, but I do know that we are losing 2 construction workers every single working day due to suicide. And so that means by the time we all go home today, somewhere within the industry, 2 people in the UK and Ireland have felt they've got no other option to deal with what they're going through other than to take their own life. And the harsh reality is this needs to change. I don't know. We talk about it constantly. I don't know what we need to do more for people like the HSE to understand that these deaths are now starting to happen on site.
Wow.
People are starting to take their own lives on site. And yes, not every single job is getting people to that point, but at the same time, it's not helping them. And it can be a very fast paced, a lot of pressure. These jobs are full on. Programs are never big enough to deliver these jobs that we work on. Excuse me. And if you've got hundreds of millions of pounds that you're looking after and you're trying to deliver it in a certain amount of time, it's a lot of pressure on yourselves. And the pressure goes up and down as well, because especially the role that I used to do, I used to get pressure off the company that I work for, making sure we're making money and we are delivering on time and we're doing it safely and in the right way. And used to get that pressure off the client as well. And then I used to get pressure off the guys that we were working with, making sure they had enough work in front of them to earn their money, because if they're not earning the money, they're not providing for the family. And these are all the pressures. The construction industry is a big smelting pot of pressure, and sometimes people succumb to that pressure, and the people at the top are just not doing anything about it. I don't know how many deaths we have to have on site due to suicide for people like the HSE to realise that, okay, we need to do something about this now. There's talks that I do, and there's other people that are out there. You've had Gavin on, and there's a few other people that are out there, Steve at Construction Sport, that are really, really beating the drum to try and change this industry. And we're getting no support off the people that are meant to look after us. Like the HSE will screw your hat on if you're not using the right vacuum cleaner on site. But they don't care if you're putting somebody to work every single day that is not in the right mental space for doing that job. If somebody came back to work after having an accident, whether they've had it at work or at home or outside of work, say if they break their arm, if you go by the letter of law by the HSE, they're not allowed to come back to work till they do they're capable of doing their full job. And they don't say anything to you about the mental health side of things, because not every problem that somebody's going through can be seen. And a lot of people are very quiet about it and keeping it in. But like we said before, people that are struggling with the mental health don't always tell you about it, and they're always very quiet about it. And they're working away in these dangerous environments, not at the top of the game, and then they could cause a fatal accident either to themselves or to other colleagues. And this is why more needs to be done about it. But the figures are just getting worse and worse and worse.
I was going to say it, because it was 2 people every year a couple of years ago. It's not going down.
It's not going down. Now, whether that is because more people are talking about it, and more people are relating back to the construction industry, I don't know. I don't know the full ins and outs of it. There's just been a new study that's been released by Caledonia. Is it Caledonia University? I need to double check that, but I think it's Caledonia University. And then Bill, who's the CEO of the Lighthouse, he's worked heavily with them. And they're coming back with the figures, showing that the figures are creeping up still. And it needs to change. What we can do, I'm honest with you, Carrie, I don't really know, because there's that much going on, and you think you're getting somewhere, and then you hit a wall. And if I'm brutally honest with you, if people aren't if it's not costing people money, people aren't doing anything about it.
Do you think the ones that stay silent are the ones that are on the higher end of the suicide risk?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. People say to me all the time, I've got this guy screaming and shouting at the mental health this and mental health that. And I say to him, keep a close eye on them, look after them, support them, but you'll probably find that the person that's saying nothing, the person that has changed slightly, gone in on themselves, gone quiet, not looking after themselves properly, not late for work, not going home from work like me. These are the small subtle signs that you'll probably find that somebody's struggling. They don't know how to cope with it. They don't know how to ask for help with it. They don't know what to do with what they're feeling. And a lot of the time, like for me, I was very embarrassed about how I was feeling. I should know how to do all these things. I should know how to look after myself. But a lot of the time we don't. And asking the question can quite literally save somebody's life. So it is important to notice these slight changes within your teammates or your staff that you have working for you. And as well, people need to realise that they don't have to solve anybody's problems for them. All they need to do is ask twice, "Are you all right?" "Yeah, yeah, I'm all right." "Yeah, but are you really all right? You seem a little bit different. I've noticed this about you. I've noticed that about you." And just let them talk. Just let them talk. You don't have to try and solve their problems. You don't have to give them an answer. You can turn around to them and say, "Sounds like you're having a hard time there. Maybe we could get you a bit of support." Again, the lighthouse. And these are the things. These are the conversations we need to be start having within the workplace to help people. Because a good way of thinking about it, if you had somebody, imagine somebody here, or you were out on a site, Carrie, and somebody fell over, broke the leg. You're not going to try and fix that broken leg, are you? You're just going to give them support till the professionals turn up, the ambulance drivers, and get them to hospital and things like that. Well, it's exactly the same with the mental health side of things. You don't have to cure people. You don't have to give them the answers. You don't have to give them the treatment. What you can do is just give them a safe, secure place to talk and offload. You don't judge them. Don't. You could be thinking in your head, "Oh, why have you done that?" But don't let them know that. Just speak to them like a human being, on a level. Say, "Let's get a bit of help for you. Let's get a bit of support for you. Let's see if we can change that for you." And it's better to lose somebody for a day, a couple of days off for a bit of downtime or a bit of time for themselves that they need to get that help and support than losing them for a week, or in a lot of cases losing them forever.
Yeah, that's a very worst case scenario. We don't want to get into that.
No.
So if there's any senior management, or it doesn't even matter what management level they are, because it could be a colleague, couldn't it?
Yeah.
You work beside every day when you're typing away, or on the tools, whatever. So everybody can have a part in helping.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are. So on a lighter note, let's talk about the podcasts.
Yes.
So you must have some funny stories, because you've started these podcasts with kind of no experience in the media industry.
Yeah.
So tell us about the struggles that you had with the technicalities, and then what some of the people have been like that you've had on.
I've done full podcasts where I think everything's working, and I've come back to it and I'm like, nothing's recorded. The cameras have failed, batteries have run out and I've not realised. The cameras will beep at you when they're going to run out of battery, but the microphones don't. And I'm like, oh God. And I started it right in the middle of lockdown, or right as lockdown started. Bad timing, but anyway. So I got wireless microphones, and I interviewed a woman called Nikki, and she worked for Network Rail, and I had to go down to London. We got this humongous meeting room. It's a boardroom that they put us up in. Network Rail were really, really good to us. But we all had to go for COVID tests, and then we all had to go for temperature tests, and it was like trying to get into Fort Knox to just get in a room to interview people. But it was really good. I've had ones where I've sat back and I've been editing it, and the audio's just rubbish. And I'm like, how can I fix this? Why is it doing this to me? Or I've been editing stuff and I've like wiped something and I'm like, oh my God, what have I touched here? Why have I wiped this? It's not as if you can go back and redo something. Glitches with memory cards. Monday I did one with Natalie, and the big camera memory card just decided not to work.
Oh no.
So there's been a few interviews where I've done it, and I've had to message them after. I'm like, I'm really sorry, but this has happened, and I've tried to bring it together. But it's a big learning curve. I'm absolutely loving it. It can do my head in sometimes, but it's something that I feel that I'm meant to be doing. I'm meant to be doing this, whether it is the talks, whether it's the interviews like this, whether it's going out and doing the days out in the van, or going to businesses and giving them a bit of insight about mental health within construction. I really do feel like this is what I was meant to do. Bricklaying was great to me. It's provided for my family. I've built a good career on that side of things, but that was a job. Now I say to people all the time, I retired at 36 because I'm doing work. Well, it's not work. I'm just doing something that I love and I enjoy. Making mistakes along the way, can be rough and ready, but It's all part of it.
I think people want to hear about all that as well, so they can see your full journey. So the guests that you have on, you can't control what they say sometimes. No. So tell us a bit about your guests, who you've had on, and what kind of stories they've been sharing with you.
So I've had, we've had what we're up to now. Episode 24 is about to come out in the next day or two, and I've had a vast array of people. I've had people from bricklayers come on, joiners come on, carpenters come on. I've had an electrician. We've got great visuals on that one, but no audio. Audio for whatever reason. So we need to redo that one. I've had Nikki, who I spoke about, who worked for Network Rail. Although she doesn't work directly on a building site, she's heavily involved with all the construction element that Network Rail, although she's moved away from Network Rail and does a lot on HS2 now. So she's involved with that side of things. I've had a guy called Chris Shaw come on, who runs a really, really, really good construction company in Manchester. And he comes on. His is a great episode, actually. His is a very, very relatable episode, because from the outside looking in, he admits he's got the nice car, he's got the nice house, he's got the good offices, but it's destroying him. His work is destroying him because of the pressures that he puts on himself. I think we're gonna get Chris back on for another interview, I think, because it got released a year ago, that interview last December, and he really does bare his soul, and he's very open and honest with that one. And for weeks afterwards, he's like, I can't believe I was that open and honest with it, and it's a great interview because of that. With the episode that's coming out now, the two lads that are on that, the beat machine broke because I was constantly trying to do it and edit stuff out, but these are conversations and these are the languages that we use out on site, and nothing's ever scripted, nothing's ever, right, we've got to do this, this, this and this. It is quite literally a press record on it. I say to people, right, let's go. And we see where the conversation takes us. And like I said before, some people absolutely bare the souls to me, like Chris did, and other people come on and just chat about the daily job. And for me, that's absolutely perfect, because it's all about getting people talking. It's all about starting conversations. And it's all about people listening and thinking, that's me. I'm going through that right now. And if X, Y, and Z can get through it and come through the other side, and they can live their life to how they want to live it, then I can do it too. And that's, for me, it's ultimately giving people hope. Raising awareness, giving people hope, giving people an insight, and having fun along the way. You've got to have fun along the way. We talk about very serious subjects sometimes, and it can go very deep and dark. But then on the flip side of it, we can have a laugh doing it. Why not as well?
That's why people are going to want to listen to it and watch it, aren't they, as well? Because you're doing it in that style.
Yeah.
How do you select the people that you have on the podcast?
The only really criteria I have for people to come on the podcast is you work in the construction industry.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what your role is, where it is, as long as you've got a story, absolutely come on. We only do one a month, but I could do 4 a month. I really, really could, but I just don't have the time to fit everything in. And people will message us, or I'll message them and see if they want to come on, and we get to know each other. And I've made friends along the way, like lifelong friends along the way, of people that we've had on there. So as long as you've worked in the construction industry and you're more than happy to come and have a chat about what you've been through, then absolutely send me a message.
There'll be people watching this that want to come on, I can guarantee that. So what are the views like on it? Because they're quite high, aren't they? Successful?
Yeah, it is. It's building, I think, because up until episode 14 or 15, I can't remember, it was just purely audio. And then after that, we went on YouTube, and on the audio side of things, we've had 5,000 downloads, I think. But on YouTube side of it, I think we've had 16, across all of them, 16,000 views, I think. So it is building. It is building slowly. People are getting out there. Instagram and TikTok are growing on a daily basis as well. For me, Facebook's a bit flat. It never really works for me, Facebook. But we still post on there. We still put the stuff out there. I'm going to start clipping up edits, taking out, 10-minute sections maybe of the podcast and putting out. But again, it's all time, and having that time to sit and edit stuff, and as well as everything else that goes on. I've got loads of ideas of things how I want to do stuff, but it's having the time and knowledge a lot of the time how to do it. But it is slowly growing. We are getting there. Every episode, it does get more and more and more views, and more messages. Like I'll get messages of people saying to me, "You said this at 28 minutes and 34 seconds in." I'm like, "Did I? I don't know." But it's great because people are really, really engaged, and they might listen over and over and over and over to a section that either myself says something or one of the guests will say something, and it really resonates with them. And they can go away and they can use that for themselves, whether it is a coping mechanism or it's a way of something that they've been through and how they handled it and what they do to keep themselves on the straight and narrow. And it is a reference point for people to realise that I'm not the only one that's going through all this stuff. Especially, I know I keep saying Chris's interview, people should really listen to episode, I think it's episode 13, I think that one.
Is that your favourite episode?
Yeah, it's going to take some beating, that one.
Is it?
Yeah, I've done a couple where they've been really, really good, like really good. But I think because Chris just laid it all out, and he does a lot of stuff. He's very all these posts he does on social media are very slick. All his branding's bang on. He does look like a polished, rounded machine, and he's a very good a business that he's got, but it's affecting him mentally, and he speaks very open about it as well. And he knows what, like he's just taken a few months off social media because he knew it was getting to him a bit, and he needed to take that break for him, and that's what he's done, and he's come back and he's doing all right.
I'm going to check that one out.
Yeah.
What future ones have you got up and coming that you can tell us about?
So I've got the 2 Glaswegian bricklayers, which it was hilarious doing that one, and we did a bit of cold water therapy on that one. So there's a video of us in the water. You get to see my dad bod in the cold water.
Do you go? I know what you're talking about. I can't imagine it being that cold. Did you enjoy that?
Yes.
You did?
Yes. You'll be so surprised.
I won't, because I won't do it.
Why not? So what's stopping you?
No, I don't like being cold.
So the whole point of it, you're not in it for ages and ages and ages. You're in it for as long as works for you, and you don't have to go all the way under. But for me, I feel it's better. And a lot of people like Andy and Dylan, who are on the podcast, they talk about it sort of being a reset for them. But do you know what it is for me? It's the battle against myself. Every fibre in your body is telling you to get out. But if you can control it by controlling your breathing, you're not thinking about everything else that's going on in the world. You might have 10,000 jobs that you need to get sorted, and that is a lot of noise in your brain. But when you're in that water, the only thing you're thinking about is surviving, keeping and slowing your breath down and living in the moment and being present in what you're doing. And then when you come out of it, you're like, you know what, actually, I feel better for that. And you forget about the cold quite quickly. You really, really do.
I'm not sure about that.
We'll have to do it.
No way, I am not doing that, and I can't believe you've said it on camera. No people are going to go on, Kerry, you're going to have to do that.
Yeah,
I do challenges.
Comment below if you want Carrie to go in the water.
I have no words for this. I can't believe he's just done that to me. So do you do it on a regular basis?
It's now becoming a part of a routine that I want to do more and more. And where I live, I'm pretty fortunate where I live in the Peak District, and there's lots of streams around there and pools that I can go in. I've got a couple of farmer friends that have got water on their land which I can go and use, and I am going to start doing it on a regular thing. You don't have to do it every single day. The 2 lads do it quite a lot, and where they live in Glasgow, but they go just outside Glasgow, and it's unbelievable where they go. So
it's really cold up there.
It was, yeah. November time we did that one. I did it in June with him, because I was up in Glasgow in June, and I've done it every time I go up to Scotland and do some work in Scotland. I always meet up with them, and we go and do it. And honestly, it does. Once you get over the initial cold and you forget about the cold, because you're not there to think about the cold. You think that you're there to calm yourself, and the cold just becomes something that surrounds you. But you're concentrating on calming yourself and clearing your mind and slowing your heart rate down, because when you go in there, you're like, and take that massive breath, and then you've got to calm your heart rate and calm your breathing, and then you sort of relax. And it's like, so put it this way, when you do training, so you've just done a tournament and you've just done a training camp to get to that. When you've been working all day, you've gone to the gym, you've worked really hard in the gym, you've gone home, you showered, you changed, you're in comfortable clothes, you're eating nice food. That euphoria, do you get that euphoria that comes over your body where you can feel your body repairing itself?
Sometimes, if I get a break, it's quite extreme.
Yeah. So is that because you're not allowing yourself not to have a break?
Possibly.
Yeah. So it's that euphoric feeling that I like. Like I used to do tons of cycling when kids came along and slowed everything down on that front, but it's changing. And I used to I used to think at first it was the cycling that I enjoyed, which I do. I do enjoy the cycling, and I do enjoy pushing yourself and kind of do this quicker and kind of push my fitness that further. But it's that afterwards. It's that euphoric feeling of your body repairing itself and slowing your pace down, because you need to slow your pace down, whether you use exercise for it or whether you use listening to music or reading or art or whatever you use. It's really, really important to take this time out for you, because your life's so full on and my life's so full on, and everybody's life is very full on at the minute, especially in this industry, the way it has been the past 12, 18 months. And we never take time for ourselves. When was the last time you took time for you? Like, I mean, did something for you, not for the kids or not for anybody here or not for anybody down the gym, something for Carrie. When was the last time you did something?
I am trying to get to Thursday when we finish for Christmas, and then I'm not doing anything for a good few days.
And that's it. It's that downtime that you need.
Yeah.
And it is really, really important to switch your laptop off and switch your phone off. Get off site. If you're on site, I used to, when I came back after having a bit of time off, I used to take myself off site just to get out of that work environment and give myself 15, 20 minutes, to stop and reset, because your brain's going constantly. And like, it goes back to me saying before, can you imagine you doing bicep curls constantly or push-ups constantly? You can't do it. And your brain needs that time to stop and rest and reset, and then you can go back. You become more productive. You can handle more stress. You've got more resilience to push through those difficult times, because no matter which way you cut it, this industry is tough to work in. No matter what job you do, no matter what trade you are, no matter what position you are, this is a tough industry to work in. And you have got to be made of certain grit to get through it. And if you are looking after yourself and you are taking this time out and you are giving yourself that downtime to rest and recover, then you can go again and you can push through those times. And ultimately, if you look after not only yourself but the people that you work with, you get people that are more loyal, that want to work with you. Because a lot of trades within the industry can be very fickle. They'll go down the road for £1 an hour more or whatever it may be. But a lot of people are now starting to realise that there's more to work than the monetary value that you give your staff. If you're looking after them and giving them time to go and pick the kids up from school, but then they can work it back later on if they want to, go and have a bit of rest time for them, give them an extra bit of holiday, a couple of extra days holiday or whatever it is. Little things like this, give them conversations with, talk to them, ultimately talk to them. It's all these little things that you start to build a more positive environment to work in, because there is days where you will get it where nothing's going right and you feel like everything's against you. But again, if you're looking after yourself, you can push through those days and you think, right, it's just an hour rather than today has been a write-off, I don't want to do anymore, I want to go home, blah, blah, blah. Rather than having all that pressure, you're dealing with it in the moment and you're not worried about the rest of my day is going to be crap and because of this and because of that. It's little things like that. And again, it goes back to, this is why it's so important to do something for you.
Well, let's speak about doing something for you.
Yeah.
So you did something not that long ago. I've got a little smirk on my face because I found it really funny. So you were walking around looking like Queen for a little bit with your beard. Like you really did. Like, what were all that about?
Yeah, so I did Movember for a bit, and it was a cross between something that Freddie Mercury would have done and a cowboy, or it was a big ginger tash that I had. Yeah, so I did that for Movember. We raised a bit of money and that went off. And I have actually got another challenge coming up, and I've got back into training.
Are you allowed to tell us what it is?
Yeah, of course I can.
What is it?
So I'm doing a thing called Scotland to Home. I'm going to try and raise money for the podcast. If I'm honest with you, I'm going to try and raise £20,000.
Okay.
So it's a big chunk of money, But everybody does the 3 peaks. This is an exclusive. I've told some people, but not everybody. So everybody does the 3 peaks, but everybody tries to do it in 24 hours. So like everything else I do, I want to try and be a bit different. And I want to do the 3 peaks, but I want to ride my bike in between each peak. So start at Ben Nevis, go up Ben Nevis, come down, ride my bike to Scarfell, up, down, ride my bike to Snowdon, up, down, and then ride my bike home. and do it that way. I'm going to try and do it over 5 days. I think it's going to be the challenge, but it's the best part. 700 miles cycling. I think it's about 4,000 vertical. No, it's way more than 4,000 meters of climbing, and it's going to be a tough old challenge. But I've started training now. I've got back walking, breaking myself in because Mike, the lad who's helping me with the training side of it, coaching side of it, I've said to him, look, imagine we're starting at point zero. I've got zero fitness because my fitness is completely and utterly gone. So we've started that. So we started last week, and I'm trying to go back to hitting 10,000 steps a day, getting out and doing a walk that pushes me a little bit in the sense, get my heart pumping and the blood flowing and all that sort of stuff. And then come after Christmas, he's going to hit me hard, I think.
I do. I think it's going to hit you hard as well.
So,
at least you've got your cold body training. So
yeah.
I'm assuming you've got a camp out.
Yeah, so we can do all that sort of stuff. Whether we do the camping out on the challenge, because I'm going to try and do it June in 2023, because of the longer days and weather-wise. Hopefully we get decent weather. So there might be a bit of wild camping, there might be a bit of B&B in it, there might be a bit of travel lodging in it, we don't know yet. But these are all the things that we've got to plan. I'll have a little video coming out in January explaining it all. And it's going to be hard, it's going to be fun. But hopefully that'll allow me to continue doing these work that I'm doing now and fund further projects.
Are you going to be documenting this journey over the 5 days, video content?
Yeah, so what I want to do is I want to film. I've started taking snippets of filming and training and out walking and the Zoom calls that we're having. And then at the end of it, I'd like to put a documentary out at the end of it for YouTube. I don't know, an hour, however long it is. That's what I'd like to do.
So you've got to survive these 5 days.
Yeah.
You have to document it so you can't cheat.
Yeah. Well, there'll be no cheating. There'll definitely be no cheating. You can track us on. You can do Strava live track, can't you?
We can track you.
Yeah, you can track it, and there is other websites that you can do where it tracks you off where you are up to it, so people can see where I am along the map. Again, these are all the logistics side of it that I've got to plan and sort out and try and pull my finger out and get it done, along with absolutely everything else I've got going on. I don't do things by halves.
What else are you willing to do to raise money for the funds?
If I'm honest with you, I don't know. If anybody wants to do any challenges with us, send us a message.
That's what I'm thinking. Let's challenge Rob.
Let's do a challenge.
We do it to Alex. We made him jump out of a plane.
Yeah.
He's sat behind the camera right there, and then we're putting him into a white collar boxing match. So he's got to do that as well really soon. So what can we do to Rob?
He doesn't know about it yet, does he?
He does his lying. So that could be interesting. Maybe we set some challenges for you and we record everything to make sure you do them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anything you want to do like that, I'm more than happy to.
Right, awesome. We'll get that sorted out. Maybe you and Alex can do it as a duo. Yeah, Batman and Robin, that'd be good. Right, so thank you so much for coming in. I knew you'd be fantastic. I knew you'd make my life easier on interviewing you because you love it and you're good at it. So thank you so much.
Well, no, thank you for having us, and thank you for giving the opportunity for me to come down and do this, and all the help you're giving us so far.
No worries at all.
Thank you.